And we're live.
Hi, guys. Thank you. Thank you for being online today. Sorry it was all quite rushed. We had a notice out yesterday that the solicitor was unable to attend due to a conflict of interest. So we decided to continue with this meeting today just to get our submissions together. So we really appreciate your patience. We went offline due to a technical glitch at morning tea. Sorry about that. Again, that's just something we had no control over. Basically, this afternoon was a bit of a recap of the general topics that you heard discussed this morning. The main point we want to get across today is submissions are due on the 24th of this month. 24/11/24, submissions due 1 minute to midnight. So that is a must. Now, by tomorrow on the internet, we will have out on our group link a template for the submission, because it just might help everybody get the job done a little bit more easily, given that a lot of you are in the middle of crops, it's dry, we've had rain, you might have wet hay, whatever's going on in your world, I feel for you. So to help it be a little bit easier, we'll have a template up and running tomorrow. That template will have a section on it for you to add your own personal and individual thoughts, feelings, and comments. You may come up with ideas that we haven't even thought of. So if you do, either share them with us on email or put them in your own submission, because it's really important that we all do them. We will do a group one on behalf of SWORD, on behalf of the River Dwellers, but please do not rely on that. That is not okay. You have to at least submit our template with your comments, and we'd really appreciate your help on that one. Basically, the bottom line is saying no to easements. This is all about a violation of property rights, ultimately. I don't care how it's been packaged, that's what it comes down to. They've asked us to comment on draft legislation relating to a silly little regulation that attaches to the Just Terms Compensation Act. And quite frankly, it's a distraction from all the other things that they've done and are doing to us. You've all probably seen floating around in the ether all the other regulations, the cultural water, the unregulated water. There's a review on everything, a review on the Just Terms Compensation. So everything's being thrown at us at once. And funnily enough, the only thing we've been asked to do a submission on is how to negotiate with the government on compensation you're probably never going to get. So that is just a big distraction. However, we are going to address that legislation and those regulatory changes with respect to LNS and with respect to the
Sorry, Deb.
You're right, darling. To the Just Terms Compensation, we will address that in our submission, but we've also, and we suggest to all of you, that you include absolutely everything that you have a concern about. It doesn't matter if it's just the cleanup costs, the weeds, the broken fences. It doesn't matter what these flows, these environmental flows will cause you. Add those as well, and also we will have covered off on the legislative changes. Each farm's different, we understand that. Some people may think that this is great, it's all about compensation. Well, let's think about it from experience. It generally won't be great. You will not get what you're entitled to. And as we say, the squeaky wheel always gets the oil. So if there is ever going to be any chance of any compensation, or if you have any possibility of negotiating anything, we say hold out 2 years, and then you might get 10 cents more than you're expecting to get. But your first real rule of negotiation is hold out. Do not let them on your property, shut the gate, do not sign anything. Call us if you're concerned. We're going to set up a hotline for SWORD because a lot of people do have concerns, and it'll be one of us will be answering it. There won't be any professional lawyers or financiers or valuers on the end of the phone. We will have a SWORD hotline to take questions, because you might have issues with all sorts of different topics. And when it does come time to negotiate, that's when you're going to need help. Even if it's us coming with you to support you in your negotiations, if you don't feel comfortable speaking to these people, who of course will turn up in groups of 2 or 3 when you're on your own. So feel free to call that line when we get it set up. They've offered money for lawyers and accountants and mental health I can guarantee, firstly, we haven't seen any when we need it, which is right now, and I can guarantee you won't be seeing that. The only time you'll be seeing anything from the government is when you're about to sign off on an easement with conditions on your property, and they will offer you a culvert to cross your gully, possibly, but then again, that's a constraint, so why should they give you a culvert, right? If they give you something, then they'll say, go and get your independent legal advice and we'll give you $2,000. So don't think you're going to be getting money for any of those things. When we do get a little bit further along in this, which will be in the next week or so, we will also be setting up a group where we will, outside SWORD, expanding SWORD basically, and we will be calling on funds from everybody to contribute, because we will need lawyers at some stage. But for the moment, we're all quite smart enough and we're happy with how it's going. So we're going to be fighting the fight on our own. We're also going to submit in our submission a positive alternative. We always think it's sensible to offer an alternative to a problem, and that is going to be what we are calling a fee for flow. You will read more about it in the submission. Basically, rather than receiving compensation and looking like we're always the poor, pathetic farmers who are scraping around to get a little bit of something, we want to positively contribute to this environmental flow. We accept that the water's coming down the stream, it'll continue to come, and as such, we want to be service providers. So we're going to suggest an alternative that we become service providers to the government to allow environmental water to cross our land, to go down to the wetlands or to South Australia or wherever it's going, because actually they've never told us where it's really going and what its real reason is. So a fee for flow, we think, is a really positive and quite an exciting option, which would give you a compensation, so to speak, in perpetuity. So for the rest of your days, you'd be receiving a fixed charge, and then for each individual flow, you would get a fee. So that's something we think could possibly work. Could be a lot easier for government if we offer that as an alternative to the hell of a show they're going to have if they try and start negotiating with each and every one of us, all who have very different issues. So this might be an easy alternate for them. But please, to maximise your outcome, just hold out, say no to easements. Don't forget this is about property rights or loss thereof. And we really appreciate you being online with us today. It's been a really successful meeting. We've had 20 or 30 people here, and it was commented that going live here today in Wagga and with you guys, they feel as though that we achieve far more than any of the community consultations that have been done in the name of consultation by government. So it went really well. Everyone's really positive. I think we had consent on every issue we raised within the room. And so I have to go now because we have to write a submission to get out to you guys. So, and thanks to Ingrid, who's done absolutely so much, sets up all of this, and Trish and Tom, and to the Swords team, well done. And to you guys who've taken the time to be online, thank you so much. And we'll be talking.
Thanks, guys. We'll be in touch.
Bye.